corporate recruiter here to review your resumes. The resumes we have up first is a Python software engineer. So what we're going to be looking for in a Python software engineer, primarily backend, is Python, SQL, any of them. I don't know why, but any type of SQL works for almost any other type of SQL. Docker, cloud, and its words. So maybe AWS and EC2 and Azure and whatever the other Azures are. RESTful APIs, Agile, Git, OOP, and then one of these, full stack, or anything involving AI or DevOps or anything in this stack. So Fast API, Flask, Django, and a bonus for ETL, Kubernetes, and Java. So let's see what this person's resume is and go. Okay. Fine. As a blue team member, software bugs using PHP, Python, SQL, and Bash. I don't know if I need all of that. Preferred code reviews for multiple teams. That's okay, but we need more. Maintain GraphQL and RESTful APIs, and Agile Scrums is not bad. RESTful APIs in Python, Django. I am missing cloud. This is okay. Yeah, my big issue here is the cloud that's missing. And you also have cybersecurity here. If anything, I would sort of just take out the cybersecurity, but let me see what you wrote. Let's see. Company had layoffs, so I figured I'd actually update my resume. Finally caved and used Google Docs rather than Overleaf for formatting. Good. Overleaf is not great. Took out my skills section, but made my bullet points basic. I feel like I need to add Linux. I mean, this is the thing, is it's still a little bit of a mix between, like, this is not a full mix between a cybersecurity and a back-end engineer, but there's a little bit of stuff that I would want to see in a cybersecurity compared to back-end, such as the Bash and maybe PHP, and that's why I'm not really sure it's relevant to put here. Let's see, my master's program is remote, and I finish it in May. I'll only be looking for remote roles. I've seen back-end roles that need PHP and Python. Main focus. Okay, so if you've seen a lot of roles that require Python, I think you would probably want separate resumes for it, because having PHP first over Python would turn a bunch of companies off if they're looking for Python and not PHP. So what you really need to do is just have another resume, but the only difference is you just have PHP first in one and PHP doesn't exist in the other. That's like it. That's the only real changes you need. So things I saw and what I did like. And again, is this a garbage resume? No, I think this is solid and can get you some interviews, but there are a couple of flaws. So the big thing here again is PHP is before Python. The second thing is, let's just see what I'm missing from this list. So we have Python, which is good. We have SQL. This is good. I don't see Docker. Maybe you have it down below. You know, Django. I don't see any cloud, and that's honestly the biggest issue, is I don't see any cloud. I did see REST APIs, although I'd prefer you to write them as RESTful, just in case. I did see Agile, which is good. I did see Git, which is solid. Do I see complete full stack JavaScript? I don't see JavaScript. I just see like Node.js and React, and that may be the deal breaker for it. Plus, it's already right here. And then down here, we have a little bit of AI, which is okay. Although I will say chatbots are not looked as favorably. So my big thing here is I'm missing cloud. Which, it's all the way down here. Yeah. So we need to change this. Again, this is a sort of in between the cybersecurity and the software engineer. So again, is this a bad resume? No, it's not. But it could use a little bit of work and tweaking. I don't want this giant blob here, because again, I'm not looking for Bash. I really don't think I'm looking for Bash and PHP. You should use a separate resume for that. And I would like to see AWS here if possible. And maybe some OOP. And then we go down here, and again, I want to see Python first. If they're looking for Python, they want to see Python first. So created a Python RESTful API Django backend for an LLM based AI, right? That's what I would sort of rewrite this as. Implemented RAG, good retrieval augmented generation, or in this case, I would probably switch these using LangChain, which is fine. They like that. Although right now I think LangGraph is what people are super into because of the mass agentics compared to Singular. And AWS, again, I'm okay with extra stuff here, but I want you to write it as AWS parentheses and then Fargate and extra stuff. So again, is this bad? No, it's just kind of a little chaotic, and there's some repetition that I see here that I would like here. So that's all I can do for this resume. This person is in my live stream, which I do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. So I'm going to give them a little bit more tips after, which are not going to be on this video. And if you like this, please like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends and family that need help with their job search. And let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a product designer. The only thing they told me was their ratio, which again is how many applications it takes to get a interview, which in this case is over 150. Your goal should be a ratio of at a minimum 50 applications for one interview. That is really going to depend on where you are in your career and where you are location-wise, but that is the average goal that people should go to. And if at any point your resume is not getting you 1 out of every 50, unless you're an international, then you should probably start changing things up in your resume until it does. So, all I know is this is a bad resume. But, let's see what we need first, though. We need a degree or GED, industry, start to finish, so 0 to 1. Research, UI, UX, product metrics, A/B testing, user behavior analysis, Figma, Sketch, Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects, and you need Figma. Almost every single job had Figma. If I do not see Figma for a product designer, I probably cannot move you forward at all. Cross-functional, stakeholders, web, mobile, desktop, B2B, B2C, graphic design, SaaS, which I don't software as a service, articulate product ideas and design choices to both technical and non-technical audiences, and maybe a little bit of AI or coding. Again, not a ton, just like use JavaScript and that's it. So, can I find that in 20 seconds? No, I don't think I can. Because again, this is their ratio is bad, which is how I know this is a bad resume. So, go. Okay, what is pickup accuracy? Operational inefficiencies and stat, that has nothing to do with what workflow bottlenecks. That's not what I'm looking for. Design and built workflow systems. I don't care about that. Success metrics, cross-functional collaboration, data scientist. Again, like cross-functional. Okay, this has nothing I want. I'm actually confused if this is the right. Did I pull up the wrong resume? Maybe I pulled up the wrong resume. You never want your recruiter to think they're in the wrong job when they look at your resume. That is a, nope, this is the right one. You said product designer. Either we have wildly different ideas of what a product designer is based on the job descriptions, or this is a terrible resume. So this is why you're not getting anything, is this is almost nothing I need. Do I see any Figma here at least, like at all? Like that is core. You need Figma. Yeah, I don't know what you do, right? Like, again, I'm not looking that you designed and built a real-time workforce forecasting system. I'm looking for the fact that you've done research, UI, UX, product message, A/B testing, and behavior analysis. Figma, Sketch, Illustrator, cross-functional, stakeholders. That is the stuff I need, and I see none of it. I'm wondering if you are looking for another job title and you think what it's called is product designer, but this is what most of the product designers on LinkedIn called for, and I don't see any of that in your resume. So this is really, really bad. Like, even not even counting the formatting, which is bad. It's just like if a recruiter cannot find anything they're looking for regarding the qualifications, you are going to get rejected. It doesn't matter if you apply fast. It doesn't matter if you have a connection. If there's nothing we're looking for, then we're not going to move forward with you. So I want you to sort of delete all of this and look at the job descriptions, because they're asking for this and you put in whatever this is, but it's not working. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a full-stack software engineer. So what we're looking for in a full-stack software engineer is degree, TypeScript, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node.js, Angular, Next.js, GraphQL, SQL, API, RESTful API, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functionally, .NET, or Python, or Java, or C. Basically, I need to see one back-end thing, and a bonus point for architecture, extra language kit, and DevOps. So Let's see if I can find it in 20 seconds and go. All right. JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and C#. Okay, good. Created a C# REST API endpoints using SQL. That's okay. Used Ajax. I don't care about. Maybe asynchronous. And then this is not relevant. Built dashboards with Leaf. All right, and that is time. So, did I see enough to move forward? I saw enough to at least get a second glance, which is good. So we have that. That's good right here. We have, again, REST APIs. I want to see RESTful APIs. They may not count REST APIs, so just say the full thing. And then we did see SQL. Although I don't need to see SQL Server, I just need to see SQL. And is there anything else? The problem is I think that's it. So we're still missing stuff, right? Like, where's the Node, the Angular, the Next.js, the GraphQL, the Cloud, the Agile, the CI/CD, the cross-functional? We did see this. Again, you have about 50 to 60% of what I need, but I need 75% to move you forward. So, is this a bad resume? No, it's just a little bare bones. I need more, right? Because I need 75% of this list before I took stuff out, and I only see 60. So, let me see what you wrote. This is my revised resume after searching for a year. Yeah, it still needs a little more work. It just needs stuff, because, like, there's really not anything I can use here. I don't think I've ever seen anybody ask for XUnit or Ajax. Or Leaflet JS maps, or Excel. Again, Excel is something you want if you're not a software engineer. If you're doing like data science, yeah, you probably want Excel. If you're doing data analyst, you want Excel. But if you're a software engineer, don't really care that much. Also, there is a slight gap between these there. I don't think I should have that on my formatting, so I will let you know there's too big of a gap between this, too big of a gap between this. If you notice, there's a gap here. There is not a gap here. Not a big deal. That's not the reason why you would get rejected, but every little bit helps. So yeah, in short, I just need more. Your first two sentences are very good, right? You have most of what I need, but most is not all, and that's why we're having issues. Next resume. This is a resume of a... what do they call this? A partnership manager. I've never recruited for this, but the requirements were not actually that crazy, kind of. So they want you to have done consulting and client-facing projects. They do want to know your industry and its tech, and this is where it's going to be a bit of an issue, because what the healthcare industry wants from a partnership management is going to be different technology-wise from a software company. So you are going to need the common rules, regulations, and tools of that trade, which is going to differ. I want to see that you can break down complexity into clear solutions. So basically, complex topics to non-technical people, which is everywhere. And then I do actually need to see some brags. This is one of the few roles, because it is sales-based, where I need to see how you succeeded. This is actually important. There may be some numbers here. This is a sales resume can get away with it. So let's see if I can find it in 20 seconds. Let's find out and go. Okay. I don't really need that. It's too many words. Again, skill sections don't matter. Provided support. Wait, since 2016? Wait, why is this in the other order? Why did you put this in the wrong order? Okay, so this is your most recent one. No, wow, I've not seen that mistake in a while. Okay, yeah, this is why you're having an issue. All right, let's read what you wrote. So, what did you write? You wrote me, having a hard time getting to the interview round. After nearly 100 applications, I was only able to schedule 2 recruiter phone screenings. Then this is a great market, because this is a terrible resume, but that's not the worst ratio I've ever seen. This is a pretty good market then. All right, so here's how we fix it so that you can get that number way down. So first off, and this is probably the most critical thing, is the formatting. Why did you put this in the order you did those jobs rather than reverse chronological order? The most recent job should be up at the top. So this is immediately an issue, and you did not tell me your months. If you have a date under the experience section and you don't tell me the months, you are probably going to get rejected because we think you are lying about your dates. You need the months. It's okay to have it here. This doesn't need months. This does need months. So fix that order and you will immediately see better results already. But let's check to see if you actually have what I need in these bullet points. So aligned product marketing teams deliver hybrid cloud reference architecture. Okay. Good. I don't care about the number here. Use multi-channel digital campaigns, content, email, social media, ABM. Good. Boosting sequels. What is SQL? What is SQL? I don't know. Are you talking about like SQL servers? It's entirely possible they may think that's what it is by year over year to same bubble pipeline. Again, that's not a bad sentence. This is sales. Partnership management is sales. So you can use numbers. This is a bad number because it's not relevant. This at least shows what you did. Facilitated C-level workshops and secured co-investments from hyperscalers, strengthened GMP alignment. This is too technical. So again, you are in a great job market if you are getting 2 interviews per 100 applications with this resume, because this is a bad resume. So here's the changes we're going to make. I'm going to need you to simplify this a bit. All right. I know there is somebody who you say, I'm a partnership manager. And they're like, what is that? And you say, well, I spearheaded joint GTM with Azure. And they're like, I don't know what any of that means. And you're like, I get businesses to talk to each other and make deals. That's who you have to write this resume for. So you really need to dumb down this resume and make it more understandable to the layman and add a couple of the tech products that you've used for this. Again, I don't know the exact industry of this. Those will go a long way to fixing your bullet points, which, to be clear, are not terrible. These are not good bullet points, but they're not the worst I've ever seen. But a bigger issue is the fact that, bro, never, ever, ever write your resume like this. You need to do the most recent job first. It's reverse chronological order. So that should be a thing. And then, again, you need the months. If you just do those, you should have in January, because, again, there's really not going to be anything that happens for the rest of the year. In January, you should have people beating down your doors to get your, basically to get you to talk to them. Because this is why, as they're looking at this, and they're like, oh, 2016 to 2017, they haven't worked in 8 years. And then they'll probably just reject it. The people that dig down because they're desperate see that you've actually got okay bullet points. So fix those. You should have no problem landing a job. Well, in theory. I know we're in a recession right now. We don't know what it's going to be like next year, although I imagine it's going to be bad. I still don't think you're going to have a ton of trouble. Next, resume. This is a hardware engineer, which is tough to search for because their hardware engineers are sort of divided upon what they do. But a general list of things that I would be looking for in a hardware engineer is your degree, PCB layout, or its software, such as Altium, Cadence, and OrCAD. That was probably the biggest thing that I found. So if you do not have that, you definitely don't have the rest of the stuff that they're looking for. Electronic circuits and industrial control systems, electromechanical systems, electrical currents, electrical circuits, that's the word. Microcontroller basics and common interfaces. So UART, SPI, and 12C. EMC design regulation lab, equipment, which I misspelled, and coding and a little bit of MATLAB. Again, basic coding. We don't need a ton of coding. We really only need like Java or Python or C# and then the rest of his MATLAB. So, can I find this in 20 seconds? Let's find out. And go. Okay, can't use anything here. IO structure, no. Python tools, okay. Teapots. What? Design IDs. SIs. This is... What is this? And no, rejected. Yeah. That would be rejected. Let's see what they are looking for. Looking for new grad roles, software and hardware engineer. Okay, so if you're using this resume for both software and hardware engineers, you're going to have a bad time. You cannot use the same resume for multiple job titles. What you do is you pick a job title you want, so in this case, hardware engineer, and then you tailor your resume to the common qualifications of that job title and use that title job resume to mass apply. But if you are using this resume for both, you are going to fail at both. And this is the problem. I did not need half of this. I don't know what DRC is. I don't know what SPPI is. I don't know what SI compliance is or APD or skill scripts. The only thing I saw is that you kind of had PCB and that was it. And then if I was looking for a software engineer, you have absolutely nothing I need because I don't see anything that you've done with software. Again, anything in the technical skills section does not count. I cannot use anything here. This also should be deleted. I don't need your coursework. So, yeah, there's really not much else I can do. Like, I don't know what to say about this. There's literally nothing here. You submitted almost an entire blank resume. Like, you need to simplify it. Like, everybody tries to think that we want whatever you're trying to communicate here. But look, I don't care if you think we're idiots. You need to write your resume like you are. Because you wrote your resume like you need a bachelor's in computer engineering who just graduated with a 4.0 to understand. Guess what? We're not going to. And I don't care really if you think of us as like unintelligent, but when you're writing your resume and we only have 20 seconds to know what it is, and we don't have the technical background that you have, there's no way anybody's going to be able to figure this out. And even managers who do have 20 years of experience would look at this and be like, toss. I don't see PCB. If it's not on your resume, it doesn't exist. That is the rule, and that is a rule for a reason. So please fix this, resubmit. I will review it again. But right now, this is your problem, is this is incomprehensible to a layman, and it's split between being some kind of software engineer and some kind of hardware engineer, but it didn't pick a path. So if you ever need more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with your friends and family that need help so that I can help them. And I will see you all in the next episode to get you ahead of your job search.